What does it feel like to be a psychopath? Understanding the inner experience. There is a persistent myth that a psychopath moves through life in chaos, driven by uncontrollable urges, incapable of reflection, and disconnected even from themselves. In reality, accounts of the inner experience often describe something very different, not turmoil, but absence. Not silence exactly, more like a thinning, emotional detachment, the core experience. Emotions are not entirely missing, but they are muted and distant, like sounds heard through a wall. Where most people feel guilt, grief, or deep attachment, someone with psychopathic traits may instead experience a cognitive awareness. This is where emotions should exist. Rather than fully feeling emotions, they often observe them. This creates a divide between understanding emotion and experiencing it, a key feature often discussed in relation to psychopathy and emotional detachment. Social interaction as performance. Because emotional responses are not instinctive, social behavior can become highly deliberate. Tone of voice, facial expressions, eye contact, even laughter, these may be learned and refined over time. To others, the person may appear completely normal, even charming. Internally, however, interactions can feel more like a performance than a genuine exchange. There is often a clear awareness of what others expect emotionally, paired with a detachment from actually feeling those expectations. Decision-making without emotional interference. One commonly noted trait is unusually clear decision-making. Without the influence of anxiety, guilt, or emotional conflict, choices can feel direct and clinical. Consequences are understood intellectually, but not always felt ahead of time. This can create confidence and decisiveness, but also increase risk-taking behavior. In this sense, psychopathy is sometimes associated with low fear response and reduced emotional inhibition. Relationships without deep emotional bonding. Relationships may still exist, but they often take on a different form. Attachment can be shallow, conditional, or based on utility, familiarity, or preference, rather than deep emotional connection. There may be curiosity about other people's thoughts and feelings, but not necessarily emotional resonance. This can lead to connections that appear functional on the surface, but lack depth beneath. The hidden downsides, boredom and emotional flatness. While emotional detachment may seem advantageous in some contexts, it is not inherently empowering. The absence of emotional depth can flatten meaning. Experiences that others find profound, love, loss, or may register intellectually but not emotionally. Over time, this can lead to chronic boredom, restlessness, a search for intense stimulation. Some individuals may pursue high-risk or extreme experiences in an attempt to break through this baseline numbness. Is psychopathy a diagnosis? It's important to clarify that psychopathy is not a formal clinical diagnosis. Instead, it refers to a set of traits often associated with conditions such as antisocial personality patterns. Not everyone with these traits experiences them the same way. Likewise, not everyone who feels emotionally detached qualifies as psychopathic. Final thoughts. So what does it feel like to be a psychopath? Not monstrous, not necessarily chaotic, often controlled, observant, and emotionally muted. It is a way of experiencing the world where understanding and feeling are not always aligned, and where that quiet distance shapes perception, relationships, and behavior in subtle but profound ways.